One last question, then we go to the audience. Um, Mr. Samir, do you have any experience to share structured supply chain? Sorry, I'll give this to Mr. Shiva Prakash. Structured supply chain pallet movements in any industry in India. Do you have any experience to share?
Yeah, in our company, we do a lot of auto logistics. So in India, if you see the most advanced logistics which is there is for auto logistics, wherein all the suppliers, all the material will be moved in the standard crates, bins, or cages, or pallets, and it goes to the manufacturing unit, and then it's like a end-to-end where all the standards are maintained and well balanced, well advanced logistics. We can learn from that auto logistics and maybe take some points, and we can do in cold chain also,
Okay.
which is the need of the hour to move into metric tons to the pallets.
Okay, thank you. One last question to Mr. Samir. What kind of multiplier effect you foresee in Indian food industry with such modern cold chain setup? What kind of multiplier effect do you foresee by setting up of such modern, so cold chain, what we are talking about, like what you set up, so the overall industry, how it is going to get benefit?
So let me give you the example of two commodities so Coalstar has a cold storage in Taloja, multi-temperature, multi-commodity. What we've seen is two large products which are currently stored in the Taloja area or the Bombay area, essentially seafood and buffalo meat. And again, let me just draw back to my earlier comment. When we started looking at the cold chain space on the micro market in Bombay, we noticed that there was about 10-12,000 metric tons. Yet, when we look at it now, which is about 8-9 years later, that number is about, I would like to say, 60,000 to 70,000 metric tons. Sure, the demand has actually picked up. There's India's export of seafood has actually also grown. But when we went down and spoke to the meat traders and we spoke to the seafood traders and the seafood manufacturers, what they said was that now that I have access to cold storages at exit ports in India, which is essentially Bombay as well as Chennai to a certain extent, I'm able to sort of procure more, produce more, and then stock till the point that I can actually choose within some reason when do I need to sort of export it. Rather than it sitting 3-4 days out at my production hub, which is limited in terms of the amount that I can actually store, I'm closer to the market. I said, great, can we apply this to another industry? The other industry being QSR as an example, right? You can procure, you can store, as you sort of grow out, you can actually, to a certain degree, mention and sort of plan for that X number of boxes or X number of pallets can be transmitted through this particular supply chain. And that's the sort of multiplier effect that we're looking at and sort of in the midst of at the moment, where as you build capacity with innovative technology like the ones that Mr. Upadhyay sort of touched upon, as well as innovative products that TCI has come up with over the past couple of years, something that we've learned while we are building out our products at Coalstar as well, is that if you get inspired by a couple of these and you build the technology which is suited for particular industries and build products around this, the multiplier effect sort of kicks in. Whether it's innovative last mile delivery products, you can steal some ideas from what Amazon does, both in India and overseas, both what Rich does out of their facility in Pune. You're able to build that multiplier effect in every micro market that you actually want to address.
Okay, very well said. Now we'll open the questions to the floor. So, any questions to the panelists, please? Anyone? If nothing is there, then we'll.
Sabir, what is the CAGR Agri perishables that Tuscan Ventures will be looking at for the coming 5 years?
Sorry, when you mean CAGR, you would mean growth of the industry?
Yes, the growth and what kind of CAGR do you envisage over the next 5 years? I would say a decade is too long, but given the current state of infrastructure, given the fact where the industry stands today, what is the kind of growth quantum that you are looking at?
So again, look, I
I'm
think
asking, of course, purely from an investment perspective.
right. I'm trying to sort of give you an answer which which is not flawed. So I think one of the things that we learned when we were looking at cold chain back in 2008, and something that we learned after doing a little bit of research, is that most reports that you end up looking at talk about a consolidated view on cold chain. Talk about the wastage, which they put a number of 443 billion rupees. They'll talk about the fact that out of 280 million metric tons, only 30 are 30 are serviced by cold chain in some form. The view that we take is that there are 8 subsegments which drive cold chain demand in the country. These 8 subsegments are growing on a clip between, I would like to say, between 12% and 17% CAGR. And overall, if you look at it, you view that the entire industry will grow at about 12 to 15% at least. I think my sense is that there will be conversion from conventional cold chain to not pallet. Let me just put it, sophisticated cold chain. So I tend to, my view, and this is a little divergent from what you will see everywhere else. My view is that you will see this in the north of 20% actually, at least for the next 4 to 5 years. Before you will find that demand and supply will actually converge at some point in time. My view is about 5 years out. So I would like to say between the 19 to 20% range is where I see the industry sort of growing at. Annualized.
The number which is there, in one of the reports which I saw is 18%. So you're very close. 19 to 20% is the realistic number. 18% is what is mentioned as a CAGR for next 5 years. And government has taken a lot of initiatives with the integrated cold chain projects. So I'm actually emphasizing on the word integrated, because it's very important to integrate. So right from farm to fork, you have to have the integrated cold chain. That's number one. Number two, different multimodal ways. So basically, waterway is also being developed. So there is a river connecting project and all that is there. The one objective is to have the water throughout the year. That's a perennial. And second, this is definitely the future. Actually, water transportation is the future, which definitely is going to happen. Today, it is too premature to talk on it as far as India is concerned. But if you talk about Germany or if you talk about Europe, for example, it's very very common. So basically, it's cost is only 60% as compared to road. So basically, this is going to be the future. Innovative ways in transportation, integrated cold chain development in India, food consumption, lifestyle change. All these things are going to be the enablers for the cold chain industry to grow.
So Vikas, you're an industry expert. You spent an entire career in this. Can you share with us what are the challenges in your perspective to the development of the integrated cold chain?
Challenges in integrated cold chain is basically, though government has been giving incentives and everything has been there on paper, but when it comes to on the ground, it all starts from the consumption. We talk about 1.25 billion people and everything we talk about, a lot of demand could be there. But unfortunately, the lifestyle, the shift in the mindset is taking time. But today, as we say, the average age is going down as far as India is concerned. So with the average age going down, with the average age of 30 or 32, you can say, the youth in India, and plus husband and wife both working, this is what is changing the whole dynamics. So we are getting more towards the Western culture actually, So we shop for a week on Saturdays, on Sundays, and we work from Monday to Friday. So this is the lifestyle which is actually going on. And your likings, basically, you want to go to a McDonald's or you want to go and buy something which is a good quality. So for example, you will buy a Chiquita banana instead of buying a banana on the street. So basically, you see the perception, the perceived value of the product is changing. So with this change in lifestyle, the cold chain industry is growing. And the challenge is that this was missing in the past, though a lot of incentives were there and people were just for the sake of subsidies. Cold storage projects used to be there, and I have seen them in lock and key. So this is what is the actual reality which has been seen in India. But today it is not that way. And companies like Snowman or Coldman and many of those kind of companies are actually coming up with multi-commodity cold storages with palletization and reefers and all of that.
Good. Any more questions, please? If no more questions, then with 18% CAGR projected in integrated cold chain industry, I'm very hopeful that the pallet movements also would grow that direction. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, panelists. It's really a good session. I think everybody in the hall, they have really enjoyed it. To present mementos to the panelists, I request Mr. Ranjan Singh to come and give mementos to them.